Hi Eddie. Can we just check on Alexander Isak firstly? How is he doing?
Yeah, we'll see today. I haven't seen him since the game, so we'll see how he is today. Have a long discussion with him, I'm sure. We don't think it's a long-term problem. In part, obviously there was no risk taken on Wednesday, and there can't be with the stage of the season that we're at.
So there is still potentially an element of risk, and you have to get the timing of his return right, whether it's Sunday or West Ham or even Wembley.
Well, there's always a risk with any player, even if they're 100% fit. That's the world that we're in. But we wouldn't take any risks on his long-term fitness. But we'll see how he is today, and we want to, if he's fit, he'll play.
And what about Callum Wilson, who sustained a facial injury, came back on, but then was substituted with 20 minutes to go? Is he all right, and is he available?
I believe Callum's okay. Yeah, I think he took a cut to his eye, but nothing more than that. I thought Callum did well in the game. So fingers crossed he's fine today as well.
And what are the chances of both Sven Botman and Joe Linton being in the squad on Sunday?
They have a chance. I'd say, again, today's a big day for them, really, because I think we'll see how close they are, whether they train with the team for the first time or not. But knowing both players, they'll be very keen to be involved, as long as their respective injuries feel good.
The Cups have been really important for you. You've gone far in both Cup competitions, and with Wembley on the horizon, how much are you looking forward to this FA Cup tie and the chance to go even further in this one?
Yeah, just looking solely at the FA Cup. It's obviously a huge competition. It's one that we have tried to focus on again, like the Carabao Cup. We know the importance of every game. We don't take it lightly. We know the responsibility that we have. We want to try and get back to Wembley if we can. But this will be a tough game. Brighton are in great form. A dangerous team. They've got a lot of good attacking players. So I think it should be a really great cup tie.
The result in the home match in the league against them will have been a big disappointment for you, but you played quite well, didn't you, that day? What do you remember about the match and what they brought to that game and how you went up against them?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good game, actually. I think they defended really well on the day. I thought we played really well too. Disappointed with the goal we conceded. I think it was one of their first attacks in the game. I thought we were dominant, but without really breaking them down efficiently. I thought a lot of our play in the first two-thirds was very strong that day. So that's my overall memory. But their away form has been very strong this season. I think they found a good way of playing. It's certainly going to be a test for us, but I'm sure one that we can rise to.
Last thing from me, VAR comes in at this stage of the FA Cup, and for the first time in English football, there'll be the use of the semi-automated offside technology. With that technology for offsides, are you familiar with it? How much do you understand it and welcome it if it can help get faster and accurate decisions?
Well, I've just seen it like everybody else has on various stages, and I quite liked it. The visuals look quite clear and simple. And if it does, as you say, if it speeds up the game and makes those decisions quicker, then I'm all for it, as long as it's accurate.
Thanks, Reza. Keith?
Eddie, how delicate is the situation at the moment with Alex? Because obviously you won't want to aggravate the problem, but you'll also want to try and get him into the team and make sure he's up to speed ahead of the cup final. I'm guessing you would want him in your starting lineup on the day.
In the cup final?
In the cup final, sorry.
Yeah, of course. I think we'd form provided, we want to try and play our best team and strongest team. I think with Alex, it's pretty clear for me. If he's fit in any game leading up to the cup final, he will play. And I think we have to have that mindset with all our players. As long as you can't save any player, they'll lose rhythm. So the best thing for a player to stay in good form and stay fit is to play them if they can. And that's what we try to do with all our players.
With everything that Alex brings to the table, how different is your team with or without him in it?
I think naturally with him, I think when he's not playing, the team takes a totally different look. It's still a team that can be successful in my opinion, but we'll have to do it in a different way. Alex has standout qualities. His game, I've said many times, we've moulded our game to his qualities. He's an outstanding talent. He possesses skills and abilities and a way of playing that makes us better, in my opinion. And that's no disrespect to anyone else that we have. I thought Callum did a great job for the team in a change of system that we felt we had to do. So there's some really good bits the other night, but I think we missed Alex.
The fact that you're still in both cup competitions, the only team that are, what is that doing for morale? It's like extending the season and giving you guys belief that you can really achieve something this year.
I think it's a great thing for us. I think we want the extra games. We've always said that we love the matches. That's what we're here to do, and the bigger game, the better. So this is a huge game. We're at home, and that's all you can ask for in the draw. But Brighton will come full of confidence from their recent run. Having watched them closely, I think it'll be a very good game. I think they've got some really good attacking players, as I said earlier, so it'll be a really good test for us.
Noticed a story this week that Manchester City are looking at Tino Livramento ahead of a potential move in the summer. Is Tino one of the nucleus, one of the players here that you want to build your team around rather than lose?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, Keith. I think it's frustrating for us that we're consistently talking about players, rumours to be leaving. We want to go the other way. We want to strengthen the group. We want to make our team and squad stronger for the future rather than lose our best players.
Thank you. Thanks, Keith. Adam?
Hi, Eddie. Adam
Hi.
from BBC Look North. It's nice to meet you. Anticipation's certainly building towards the League Cup final in a couple of weeks' time. But besides just winning games, what will you be looking for from your team?
In the build-up to the final?
Yeah.
I think we want to be in the best mental state, physical state that we can be for that game. But that's in the future. I think just finding rhythm, form, momentum, these are all key fundamental qualities that we need. I think we're in the middle of have been in the middle of a difficult spell of games. When you look at Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Manchester City, that's a tough run of fixtures. Manchester City was disappointing. Forest, we had some really good bits in it. And Liverpool, I didn't think we were good in both boxes, but we were good in the middle part. So it's putting that all together really and finding that consistent form for the next couple of weeks.
You talked about your tough run of fixtures, and Sunday seemed like a continuation of that. Brighton, a team you've not beaten in the last 3 games. Tactically, why are they so hard for you to break down?
I don't necessarily think tactical play has anything to do with that. I think Brighton are a good team because they've got good players, as we have. So I think very even game in the first game we had against them. I thought they defended particularly well on the day. But we back ourselves if we're at our best levels, as we have been in overall in the recent months. I think we've been in decent form, so we've just got to try and hit our best levels.
Speaking of players hitting their best levels, Lewis Miley's been fairly irresistible recently. Has he played his way into starting contention, I should say?
Yeah, he's certainly pushing in the right direction. I thought he was very good when he came on against Liverpool again. Played very well against Nottingham Forest, so he's doing everything right at the moment.
And just finally for me then, the decision to bring Nick Pope in over Martin Dubravka has been a contentious one somewhat. Is that one you still stand by?
Well, I think we take it on a game-by-game basis as we do with all team selections. I think part of the game is players can change your minds either way. So we're always looking to try and pick our strongest team, and it's up to the players to either confirm their place or not.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thanks, Adam. Damien?
Eddie, you mentioned Callum earlier. Through no fault of his own, he's not had a lot of football in the last year. How difficult is it in that context to be thrown straight into a starting lineup and to lead the line at somewhere like Liverpool?
Yeah, it's not easy for any player when they've had injury problems to come into the team, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily been thrown in. He's been back training for a good time, and then he's been training with us and doing everything that all the other players have been doing for, again, a good period of time. So I think he was ready to start. He obviously played against Birmingham in the FA Cup and did well and scored. And I think on another day, Callum might have been able to score and impact that way in the Liverpool game. He obviously had a good chance, but he made some really good runs. He looked physically good. Testament again to his hard work that he's put in his recovery. And knowing him, he's mentally there. He's mentally ready to play.
Thank you. We'll go to Lee, Ian and Craig.
Eddie, just on Lewis Hall, obviously he's been in great form recently. You sort of trained him to play left back last season, and that's starting to really show good signs. could his future still be further up the pitch as well? Is there any limits on what he could be?
I'd probably say Lewis is, for us, a left back. That's not to say 100% I wouldn't use him in any other position. I think he has the technical skills to play in other roles, but I think that's his best position for us. I think and for any defender, I think you want continuity. You want to know where you're playing to consistently work on your game. The level's so high that you can't really lose focus on the fundamentals of that position. So I think he could be very pleased with his form recently. He's looked really good. Played well against Mohamed Salah on Wednesday. It was a really good test for him.
And how proud are you of we're going into March now and still got a chance in every competition of getting in a Europe Cup final, FA Cup. How proud are you of the players for keeping it going to this stage with all the adversity you've had?
Yeah, we're pleased, but I think we're always pushing and we're always wanting more. So I think the challenge after this weekend is to still be in those competitions, and this is going to be a tough game for us. But we want to hit that aggressively, and we want to attack the game, and we want to give it everything to try and get through to the next round.
Thanks, Lee. Ian?
Good morning, Eddie. Bruno undoubtedly has been one of your most influential players over the last 2 years. There's been possibly a drop-off in his performances in recent games. Do you detect any tiredness, or could it be a simple case of he's missing his compatriot Joelinton?
I think, tiredness is a difficult one for me to measure. Only Bruno can truly do that. But he has had a very, very busy schedule. If you look for a long, long time now, he's been playing regularly every week or every 2-3 days. He's always been there for us. That's the standout thing for Bruno. He's never shied away. He wants to play in every game, every minute of every game. He's got a great passion for the game. His international schedule is also full, and a lot of travelling within that as well. So I think we need to protect our players at all times. He's such a special talent. Of course, I think that there's an element that the team has missed Joelinton. With his qualities that he possesses, he's unlike no one else. I'm not talking about Bruno individually here, I'm talking about the team. So his return, I think, will be very welcome.
Okay, we'll go to Craig, Luke, and then Dom Shaw.
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
You've got too many good players to be called a one-man team, but are you dependent on one man for it all to ultimately work?
No, I get your question. No, I don't think so. But of course, in saying that, we recognise Alex's strengths and his abilities. I don't think we're a one-man team. I'd never classify us in that bracket. But Alex brings unique qualities in that centre-forward role, in that pivotal middle role that we need. But we have other ways of playing. We have other players' skill sets to utilise. I do think you have to look. We were playing Liverpool the other night, and that was a tough game. It's been a tough game there for everyone this season. But I thought there was a lot of good in it as well. I don't think it was all bad, but we didn't hurt them enough around their box for sure.
And it's a real quirk, but it seems so long now since Callum and Alex were both fit together, what you would call sort of peak fitness. I mean, I can't even remember the last time it happened. How big a frustration is that for you that you can't get the two of them in tandem? Because when it did happen, you saw they actually benefited for it. Yeah,
it's been a big frustration because my mind goes back to Burnley last year. I think that we played them in tandem, and I'm sure there was other games as well. And I thought they were outstanding together. They looked a real handful. They looked like they enjoyed playing with each other as well. It brought a different dimension to us. And I don't feel since then we've really had them in the best physical condition to actually play them together. And even now, Callum's still finding his way back to his best. And of course, Alex has got this recent problem. So I'd love to get to the stage where they're both 100% fit and we can maybe look at that option.
Thank you. Luke?
Have you been working out, Eddie?
Go on.
No, you just look quite chiselled.
Just a joke.
No.
Well, thank you.
No, just looking
I'll
good.
take it.
Just on, I just like to make you smile.
Well, you've done it.
Bruno, does he need a rest after playing so much? And is he sort of struggling physically a little bit?
It's difficult because if you ask Bruno, I'm sure he'd say no, he doesn't need a rest. But I think it's up to us to look at his schedule and to try and find ways to do that. And we have tried, albeit he's such an important player. We've we've turned to him probably more often than we've wanted to because of his strengths and qualities. So, for example, in the FA Cup, we tried to give him just 45 minutes in the last round and share that burden with Sandro. But yeah, his schedule is intense. And again, as soon as the Carabao Cup final will be played, he'll be off with his national team, and that will be where the other players are getting that rest and recuperation. He won't, and that's part of being a top player. That's part of the life that the benefits of really being the elite player that he is. But of course, it comes at a cost at times, and we need to make sure we protect him.
But presumably, he remains as important as ever to when Newcastle United play well. Bruno tends to be playing well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he's in the middle of everything, really. I mean, of course, his position allows that, but he is behind a lot of our good play still. He's an outstanding player and will continue to be an outstanding player. We just have to try and help him in those moments where we can keep him fresh and get him to his best levels.
Thanks, Luke. Dom Shaw, Jordan and Dom Square.
Hi, Eddie. If Callum does get a run in the team now, is it a chance for him to earn a new contract?
Yeah, I've always said never written Callum Wilson off in my head in terms of what he can bring to the team. His strengths, he is a goal scorer. He's strong, quick, physical. Yeah, he understands everything tactically. So the biggest thing is just getting some momentum in his game where he can play enough minutes to recover his rhythm. I think that's the thing that he needs, which is difficult to do if Alex is fit. As I said earlier, it's difficult for us to get players fit in the team. They have to get fit and then execute their skills. So it's a delicate balance, but Callum's got every motivation to do well, and I'd back him to do so.
Thanks, Dom. Jordan?
Morning, Eddie. Just on the goalkeeping situation, how do you think Nick Pope has performed in the last 2 games since come back into the team?
I think with Nick, I think there's been some good bits, and there's been some bits that probably naturally when you're coming back from injury like he has been, that have been a little bit rusty in his game, but I think that's natural for any player. I think he's got, still believe, standout qualities. He's a top goalkeeper. And yeah, I think he naturally, with his experience and his knowledge and understanding of his own game, will know he's got high expectations of himself as well.
And how has Martin reacted to not being in the team?
I think naturally, whenever there's a player coming out of any position, bit of disappointment, but you'd expect that, and I think that's totally natural.
And do you have a dilemma picking between the two this weekend, or is the decision very clear in your head?
No, it's never totally clear, because you've got to get the balance right, and you've got to think of the team first and foremost, and that's what I always do. I don't think of individuals, think of what the team needs, and I'll have to think about what I do this weekend.
Thanks, Jordan. Dom?
Morning, Eddie. 3 Premier League games without Alexander Isak this season, no goals, no wins. How do you find a way to, or how do you score without him in your side this season?
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't have that dilemma, but if we do, I'm sure we have the players that are capable of fixing that problem. Now, whether that's me looking at something tactically or however we do it, we still have some very, very good players within the squad.
And just how did his injury come about? Was it fallout from the Nottingham Forest game, or was it a training ground incident?
No, it was after the game. He just after the day after the game, he felt absolutely fine, no problems. And then it was the second day, which can sometimes happen in the players' bodies, where he just felt a bit stiff. So woke up and just didn't feel 100% right. And from there, it was pretty clear on the match day that he wouldn't play.
Thanks, Dom. Jason Miller?
Oh, hi, Eddie. A lot of bookmakers have you similar odds to win either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. Given who you play in the final of the Carabao Cup, do you think that the FA Cup actually gives you a better chance of silverware this season?
I don't think too much about either, to be honest. The bookmakers will do their stuff, and I fully respect that. And we've just got to do ours. So you can't look at odds and chances of winning. We've just got to try and beat Brighton, and that will be our focus.